What's up, guys? Welcome to Get a Grip with Kendall Roosing. I'm here with Kody Steele and William Tackett. We're here in Austin, Texas. I'm super happy to be doing a podcast with you guys. Welcome.
Thanks for having us on. It's great to be here.
Let's go.
You gotta look, man. You gotta get close to that thing. I don't think you guys could even hear Kody. I'm trying again.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Sula, how was that? I think it was good. All right. So you guys don't know this from home, but that was not the first time we did that. So we're rocking and rolling. But I got the green light, so we're ready. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to intro you guys, and then we're going to jump into our first question. So for everyone at home, if you guys are following along with William and Kody, you probably already know a lot of this, but just to give you a little bit of background in case you don't, this is actually our first podcast where I've had two guests at one time. So I'll go through you guys' stuff a little bit at length. So William, you are 21, right?
Yes.
21 years old. Got your black belt at 19. ADCC veteran, winning the West Coast trials. And you're a two-time silver medalist at the trials, right?
Yeah, it took me a while to finally get to gold, but yeah, I had some good experiences along the way.
But we got it. Okay. The 2020 Flow Breakout Grappler of the Year, 3-time juvenile world champion, 3-time Fight to Win champion. And you have some really impressive wins over like Philippe Andrew, Tex Johnson, Dante Leon, Paul Harris, and Andrew Wiltsey, right? Amazing. And then Kody, 27 years old. You got your black belt. I think we decided on 24.
Yes,
Yeah, 20.
Yes, we did.
There we go. 24-ish. We'll go with 24-ish. And then, so one of the major accomplishments that I actually just found out about, I think, is your EVI Combat Jiu-Jitsu World Championships. And you were a brown belt when you won that?
Yeah, yes.
Very nice. He's really focusing on the microphone
I
situation.
talk too low anyway.
You're doing great. You're doing good. And 3-time Third Coast Grappling Champion, 2-time silver medalist at the Nogi Worlds, third at ADCC East Coast Trials, and who's number one veteran, wins over PJ Barr, Jonathan Gracie, DJ Jackson, Edwin Najmi, Alec Balding, Nate Orchard, and most importantly now I know is a 2-0 pro Fury MMA record.
Oh, yeah. Let's go.
I know that was long. You guys got me working over here researching. So super excited you guys are here. Now, every time we start the podcast, the first thing that we do is we go into a little bit of your life story so that the fans can learn more about you, but also so that I can make sure we take the conversation in the best direction. So I need to know more about you guys too. So whoever wants to go first, I have a feeling that's going to be William. You guys can give me a 10-minute-ish version of your life story. Go for it.
All right. Yeah, so my name's William. We've already discussed that. But I'm 21, and I live here in Austin, Texas, and I have pretty much since I was a kid. We moved here from California when I was young. I was homeschooled my whole life, so I pretty much just got to train jiu-jitsu and hang out at the house. And we lived on some land, so I just got to kind of play outside and stuff. Started jiu-jitsu in 2009 when I was 8. That was a blast when I started. I'd always wanted to compete in either martial arts or train in martial arts because I liked watching Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee was my hero when I was a kid, and I loved watching the early UFCs, watching the crazy matchup between the big guy and small guy, the Gracies fighting the giant guys and winning. So yeah. I tried out Taekwondo and karate and stuff, but I just wasn't into it. They showed us breaking the board and such, and I just wasn't really into it. So
how old were you when you tried those?
I was 7 or 8, yeah, something like that. And we found a jiu-jitsu gym that opened up right next to our house. So we had just moved to a different place in Austin, kind of right when the market had crashed and everything. We moved into a new home, and there was a jiu-jitsu gym that had just opened up. We actually saw them putting up the banner in the front. It was a big kind of a flag banner, said Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So I walked in, and there was a CrossFit class going on one side and a little bit of mat space on one side, and there were some people rolling and stuff. And that's when I met my first coach ever, Robbie Rabati, which is now he's affiliated with.
I didn't know you started training with Rabati. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So that was my first ever coach, first ever introduction to jiu-jitsu. Trained there for a while. They had moved around locations, changed to Hibero Jiu-Jitsu now, and I was a part of that transition too. And finally, after competing for a little bit and just traveling, I met him at one of the local stuff. I don't know if it even exists anymore, but On It used to run an invitational.
Yeah,
called the On It Invitational. And that was pretty sick because there was always the up-and-coming people on there.
Yeah.
And I saw him suplex a guy on his head.
So that was your first impression of Kody?
Yeah. I had seen him around. I'd heard the name Kody Steele, but I had never like met him or watched one of his matches. And I saw him suplex a guy on his head and then just choke him right after. And then I won my match, and we just talked about training and cross training because
Yeah.
Austin Jiu-Jitsu, unlike today, like was super small.
Yeah.
Like you could count on your hand the amount of gyms in the area,
Okay.
and less than that, like tournaments in the area.
Yeah.
So it was like growing around this time, but it was still really small. And the
Mm.
gym I was at, I thought was like the toughest competitive gym in Austin, but I was like trying to look for new training partners because I was like kind of like getting some growing pains, like outgrowing the gym a
Yeah.
little bit. And I met him, so we started cross training, and eventually it led to me training at Brazilian Fight Factory with my new coach Rodrigo Cabral, and then now just training and trying to trace the jiu-jitsu dream, you know.
Wow, that was fast. I guess you don't have that many years to cover though.
Yeah.
So
not
that
very many.
that was pretty good.
Yeah.
And you're pretty much your whole family trains, right?
Yeah. So I got my younger brother Andrew. We started at the same time. He was 6, I was 8.
He just won the Nogi Worlds, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he did
he looked
so
awesome.
good. Yeah, he beat Kenta from B Team, which is a huge win because he was at the ADCC, had a good match with
Wow.
JT Torres.
Yeah.
But then he beat Pierre Lecrae, who is also really tough. Yeah, he had a great performance, really good. He had like 6 matches, and won the gold. But he's 2 years younger than I. We started training at the same time. Like a year or two later, Caleb, my youngest brother, started training when he was like 4. And now we all train. My dad trains too. So yeah, it's great. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome. Cool. Good job. You're a professional. That was impressive. All right. Now we got to see what happens next. It's okay. All right, Kody, give us the lowdown.
All right, let's go. So I don't really know where to start. I don't know where to start really.
We got Sewell in the house to be bossy about the mics. Chipotle is where we start.
Yeah. So I'd say I grew up in Washington, like state, a really small town, like Sequim, Port Angeles. I don't know if people have ever heard it. If people ask me, like, they're like, no one's heard of Port Angeles and Sequim, but like, I always compare it to like Forks, you know.
Also
like
Twilight, little Twilight
Forks,
style.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like,
like
maybe 30 minutes from there.
Wow,
you know? So
right.
Like, oh, that's cool.
Very gray and sad.
Yeah. Very, very. So yeah, lived over there through my high school times, middle school times, and after that.
And you were like a straight A student, really well behaved, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what I've heard.
No, I was like, I was all over the place a little bit. You know, I would get in trouble for mainly just like fighting, and
all right.
but I always did sports. Sports was like my thing. Like school was not my thing, you know. So I tell people all the time, like, you don't have to be the best at school. Trust me.
That's really good for all the kids listening. Then you should just do what Cody says. That's it.
You know?
Yep.
Yeah, this kid didn't go to school.
This is the inspirational academic podcast of the year for sure.
But I will tell you, like, it was weird because I remember being like in school and then being like, fuck, like everyone's smarter than me. Like everyone's faster at learning things than me. I was like, what the hell? But like in like the athletic department, I was shy. You know? I did wrestling, football, baseball, all that. And then one day I came home from school and then my mom was like, all right, we're moving to Texas. I was like, what? No, we're not.
How old were you?
I was 17.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Or like, I was probably like 16 because my mom was like, next year after your junior year, we're moving to Texas. So I was going to spend my senior year at a different school.
Oh, wow.
And like the schools that I used to go to were like very small schools.
Everyone knew everyone.
Yeah, everybody.
Okay.
Everybody knew everybody. And then I'm going to a school that's like gigantic. I know nobody. And but I remember my mom, she was telling me, she's like, if you want, you can like stay back here, like live with your friend or live with like a coach. You know, maybe finish out the year, maybe look to get a scholarship for something. Who knows?
That's a lot of trust.
Yeah. But, you know, in my head, I was like, I'm not very good at school. So I'm not gonna, what do I need a scholarship for, you know? But I knew Austin was like a big city. And I didn't know anything about it. I was like, but I was like, I knew there'd be opportunity for me, you know? So then went to school, did all that. And then I always knew like in the back of my head, like I was like, maybe I could fight, you know, I'll try MMA. Like that's what I wanted to do. So when I moved here to Austin, I was like, I need to look for some jiu-jitsu. So then that's when I found Rodrigo, my professor now from day one. I met him, did that, started up, and Yeah, I did some weird jobs for a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
At high school, yeah, I was stripping.
Oh, were you really?
No, I wasn't.
No. Oh, that would have been way more exciting. I'm just gonna use that clip in the promo and just cut it when
Kody
you said
was
that.
stripping.
Yeah, for
it was
sure.
good money for a while.
Yeah, yeah, I like it.
But no, I was like working at like some clubs downtown, Chipotle.
Nice.
Yeah, I was trying to I was getting ready to go to like community college, do all that. And then like luckily I was like blessed to like freaking run into Rodrigo, and he was like, "Hey, if you want to do jiu-jitsu or you do this sport, like, you know, you try to get treated like school, treat it like a job." And I was like, okay. So, and it was hard too at the time because when I started jiu-jitsu really wasn't popping like that.
Yeah.
Like there was no super fights, there was no
money.
Like no money.
Yeah.
You would just go to like local tournaments. But
you would pay to enter and then you would leave broker.
Exactly. You know. And it was just like, but like in my head I was like, all right, I'm gonna do MMA. And I was trying to decide, like, do I want to do like jiu-jitsu or striking first, you know, because I already did a little bit of wrestling. And so what made me decide was like I wanted to compete in striking around here, like in Austin or in anywhere. You have to travel to like go do striking tournaments. So like, all right, I'm gonna do jiu-jitsu. There's like tournaments every other week. Or you go to Dallas, you can go to San Antonio. IBJF was around. That's when IBJF was tight and cool. But, you know.
Uh-oh, we got some slander coming.
Different times now. But yeah, so I started doing. That's why I started doing jiu-jitsu, and then trained white belt, blue belt, did all that, and then Rodrigo, my professor, was like, all right, if you want to do MMA, you have to wait till you get your purple belt. I was like, okay, cool.
That's smart.
Fair enough.
That used to be my dad's rule for athletes. Yeah, same thing.
Anything you want to do, you gotta get your purple belt.
Yeah.
So I was like, sweet. And then once I got my purple belt, that's when I ran into like William, and then that's when we started training. And then when we started training, he was like, because at the time I was training with like a lot of like masters, like older guys, and then like my professor, but he at the time he was like 220 pounds, like he was just too big for me, you know? So he had like a heavy wrestling and smash pass kind of game. But then when I ran into like William and then all those guys over there, they were doing like bolos, like foot locks, toe holds, like knee bars. I was like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, this is crazy. Then that's when I like was sticking with. I was like, let me just stick with jiu-jitsu a little bit longer, so then I can like learn from these kids, you know, and like start learning how this game is. Then I started feeling like my jiu-jitsu started getting better, and then at that time that's when jiu-jitsu started to like pick up. Like, super fights started to happen, and then like at the time, like when we were like going around, we're like, we're not going to do IBJF anymore. We're only doing super fights. And super fights at the like when they were getting more popular, but at the same time, like we would do IBJFs, we'd scrap for like 5 rounds or something, and then people would be like, okay, whatever, you know.
It's fine.
Like we beat good tough people, but nobody would see it, or we do these like sick like exchanges out on the mat, but nobody would ever see it. And then super fights started coming around, and then we're like, all right, so we started like we would just
time to shine.
we would travel all over the place, like all over like Chicago and stuff, just like going to Florida, doing tournaments, doing super fights, and and I think we just started rolling with that. And then I think after I got my black belt, I was like, I'm gonna do 1 year of like competing at black belt as much as I can, and I just did it, and then now we're over here to do an MMA.
Yeah. Well, man, that leads me to my next question. So when you're thinking about MMA, when did you first have your first amateur fight? Or you were doing like different kinds of striking tournaments first, right?
Yeah, like I did like a kickboxing, like Muay Thai like tournament, which was fucking tough. He was there with me. Like it was brutal. Like I had to fight 2 guys in one day. Ooh. And then the next day I had to like make weight again and then fight in the finals. Yeah, that's something. Because I had to cut weight, so that sucked. And and the first day in the semifinals, I got in this like dog fight with this dude because like the outside of my knee was like pretty fucked up, so I couldn't kick with my leg, and all these dudes were kicking me and punching me. So all I could do, I just had to
kickboxing tournament or Muay Thai.
Yeah, all I could do was throw my hands. So yeah.
Ooh, yikes.
So yeah.
And that led to amateur after that?
Yeah, so I did like a couple smokers, did a tournament of striking, and then I did my first MMA fight like shortly after that, amateur though. And then after that, I did another amateur fight and like starched that dude pretty good. And then 14 seconds or something? It was like 13 seconds, 14 seconds.
For those of you guys who can't hear in the mic, he said William said 14 seconds or something.
13-second knockout or something. Yeah.
Man, what I found out today is that William knows more about Kody's history than Kody knows about Kody's history. We're going over like the details of his wins, and like William had all the answers. That was impressive. Semi-manager.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Except you're younger. So, yeah.
Maybe that's why my memory's better.
There you go. Okay. I like that reasoning. So then you jumped into pro, and how did the transition feel for you going from amateur to pro? I mean, I know that you have told me before it's like what you felt like you always wanted to do. You knew it was where you needed to be, but was it like a big change, or what was that experience like?
I don't know. It's kind of scary to make that transition because sometimes you're like, man, I need to get like the experience before we go pro. Like I needed to get at least 10 fights under me so I can like run with these guys. But I don't know, like I think it's different for everybody. Like to me, like jiu-jitsu is jiu-jitsu, striking, but like MMA, like that's fighting. You know? And like fighting, it's like it's either in you or you're not. Like it's not so like you can do it, but if you don't want to do fighting, like it's a brutal sport. You know? So it's like I don't know, like I was looking around at everyone's records and stuff. Some people had like 10 amateur fights, some people had 2 amateur fights, you know, some people had none, you know. So I was just like, and then people were telling me like it's just however you feel, you know. You feel like you're ready or you're not. But I don't know, like, and also too, like doing an amateur fight and then knowing that I'm gonna go in there and probably break my nose or like break my hand or fuck my shoulder up, like I didn't like that and not get paid for
the
it.
risk versus reward factor, right? Yeah,
it was like not it's not something that I wanted to do because then I would have been pissed, but you know, so,
for sure. But man, from what I hear from MMA fighters, it's really hard when you go pro because if you start off with a losing streak, I feel like it's really hard to make a name for yourself. So it can be really risky. Like you said, you need the experience to go in to kind of bang with these guys, but if you go in too early when you're not ready, then you're like kind of fuck your career up from a really early stage.
Like jiu-jitsu is like I don't like records to me, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, you can just sign up and do things and put on a show like and people are happy.
I don't care if I lose in jiu-jitsu, but in MMA you definitely don't want to have a loss, and also you don't want to be on that side of the beating, you know. Like it's pretty real. I remember I went to Florida. I was with Wagner and he was like telling me like, you sure you want to do MMA? It's very unforgiving. I was like, yeah. Like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. But yeah, my first pro fight, I learned a lot of lessons in that. Like I won, I dominated the guy, but things didn't really go my way because I just wasn't prepared in a lot of ways. And yeah, that woke me up. You know, like I remember, like I hit the guy. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna hit this guy. He's gonna fall. He's gonna be done. You know, and I hit this dude, and he kept coming forward, and he was throwing like fists at me and just barely grazing my face. I was like, wow, like that could have fucking
it hurts.
Me out. Like, that could have finished me and I would have been posterized, you know. So, you know, I learned a lot and fixed the mistakes. But yeah, I think it's just a comfort. Like if you're comfortable, then you make the jump and you do it. And but yeah, I think like I said, fighting is in somebody. You know? You can't just be like, I want to go do an MMA fight. Like it comes out. You know?
I'm gonna be on TV.
Yeah.
You're gonna get smashed.
Yeah, because jiu-jitsu to me, jiu-jitsu is very technical. You know, like you do a lot of good technique and fighting, and MMA is the same. But sometimes, like in jiu-jitsu, if you come up, like if you do you put them like an X guard sweep, you got to come up, and then once you come up, it's a scramble. You got to take them down. Like MMA is like kind of the same, except you get knocked out.
Yeah. The mistakes are less forgiving too, I would imagine.
It's gnarly.
So what about you, William? Any MMA in your future?
Yeah,
I mean, you're gonna follow Kody's footsteps?
It kind of like goes back to what he's saying. Like it's kind of if you just want to fight. And I like never got in fights when I was a kid. Like other than like the occasional scraps with my brothers, it was like, you know, I wasn't fighting. Like I was homeschooled. I wasn't around like a bunch of kids my age, other than like the kids in the gym, training, the kids class. Right. So like I just never got in fights. So like I didn't grow up like with that confrontation, I guess. And I think that's something you can develop at a young age because like he said, he fought a lot when he was in like school and stuff. And I don't know, I think that's kind of just has like that dog in him from that, you know. And it's not, I don't know, I like jiu-jitsu because jiu-jitsu, like I'm not getting punched in the face and I'm not
It's an upside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm doing well in it. You know, if I like all of a sudden just like started losing really hardcore and needed to like take a different approach, then I would look into it. But as of right now, I mean, jiu-jitsu's growing. It's grown so much since I started. I mean, like, he was saying there was like no tournaments really in Austin, and there was a little bit, but you had to like travel for it, you know?
Yeah.
And there was like no tournaments paying people. Now you got like who's number one in Austin, giving like $30,000 prizes for like the invitationals,
championships,
the
brackets
championships and stuff. So it's just like it's just another level. So I don't really know if like MMA is necessary for me right now, and I don't have like the desire to do it yet. If I got the itch, then I'd probably scratch it, but as of right now, I'm good.
Well, so you started jiu-jitsu when you were super young. Well, you're super young, but you're also homeschooled, and I think that's a pretty that's a big difference, because jiu-jitsu really became your whole life rather than being like you do jiu-jitsu as a hobby. I mean, you're in it so much of the time, so many hours of the day compared to other activities. So when you're thinking about like how that changed you as a person, do you think there were any negatives or like any drawbacks to how that happened, or was it all just positive?
I honestly, like, of course there's things that you can look at and like kind of pick at, but I'm thankful for like the life I've had and the journey that I've been on. I think that there's been a lot of positives, and I've been around a lot of good people. I think that's something that jiu-jitsu does well, is it kind of filters out like the bad people and kind of keeps the good people for the most part. You know?
We try.
Not everything's perfect, right? But like there's not very many people have a big ego in the gym, because you know if they do, they get caught or they get weeded out. You know, like our academy is pretty well known by like the people that train there, the people that have trained there, as like it's just like a good vibe, like everyone's just having fun, but it's competitive, you know.
That's how I felt when I came and trained. Like, it's really interesting as a female black belt too, because a lot of times you go into a gym and it's like, oh, like that black belt's a chick. Like, let me see. Like, is she actually a black belt? Like, is it like for real? Like, let me see. Like, you know, and they try to smash the shit out of you just to see if they can, right? But I think when I trained with you guys, it was like I felt like I was like doing gymnastics with everybody. Like, it was so fun. It was super fun, and it was super chill, and it was still like fast paced and competitive and upbeat, but everyone was so friendly. Like, even the people that I trained with that I didn't know personally, like everyone was so nice. Like, I had a great time.
Yeah, I think we do an okay job of like having like a good vibe, and especially my last gym was the same thing. So I've been around like good people and good environments for a while now, and I was homeschooled, so I wasn't like around like, you know, troublemakers at school and stuff, other than my brothers, you know.
but like this, so you had to find them later.
Other than like my only classmates, you know.
But the jiu-jitsu guys kept you from being like the weird homeschool kid.
Yeah, because I still had like exactly.
Well, you need them. You need them.
I mean, I'm a little weird, but
but the good kind, I think. From my interactions, we were doing great so far. Thanks.
But I think like most of the stuff that's like negative that comes from homeschooling is like the lack of like interaction with people either your age or just people in general. So like you just end up being like a weird young version of your parents, you know, because you're only around them. But
you don't develop the different social skills and stuff.
Yeah. But I had 3 siblings. I have an older sister and 2 younger brothers. So like I had siblings, and then I was in the gym like every day of the week, and then I would stay for the adult class because my dad would train. So I would like talk with the adults, and I had a lot of coaches that were like, you know, older and wise and stuff. So like I think that there wasn't really much negative drawbacks to it. I think that maybe the only negative drawbacks would be like if I wasn't good, then like I kind of would be a little bit screwed, because I'd be like, crap, I didn't really go to school, I didn't go to college, I just spent all this time training jiu-jitsu. Like, I mean, I'm still young enough to where I could have turned it around, but like if I just like sucked, it would have been like a lot of time wasted for sure. But I was like enjoying what I enjoy what I do, and I've always enjoyed it, and thankfully I don't suck that bad, so I can win some matches, so it's working out.
Well, man, even if you did pivot and decided to do something completely different, like you woke up tomorrow and you're like, you know what, I want to be like a dentist. Well, I hope you probably don't want to be a dentist, but if you wanted to fix Kody's teeth when they get knocked out, or you know, like you know, he's gonna have needs, like whatever, you decided to change your mind. You still have all these skills that you've developed. You're growing up in the jiu-jitsu community as a very young child. Like, I think one thing that is so interesting about kids who grew up in jiu-jitsu is you don't realize that when you're in it, but when being older and looking back, I'm like, man, I don't really know many other kids that spent so much time with like grown-ups, like on the mats, bonding and talking. Like, you're really raised by a community rather than just being with your parents or like your friends' parents, and you can learn a lot from like just interact, like you find a different level of like maturity or kind of like world awareness in kids that grow up that way because they have so much interaction with mature adults.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that like I've always tell people one of the best things you can do for like raising kids, and I don't have experience raising kids, but I teach kids class all the time, or I used to ton. So like I have experience like being around kids and like seeing the process of them growing up and stuff. And then like myself growing up in the kids class. So like I have that experience and with my brothers. So like I think jiu-jitsu, wrestling, like anything where it's like contact sport with like other kids where they have to be like underneath a leadership role, like a coach, and they got to be like a part of a team and respect each other and learn how to win and lose. Like that's just like a huge takeaway that you don't get in other areas of life. But I think that can really like help young kids growing up, you know, especially jiu-jitsu, because jiu-jitsu is like more fun than wrestling. In like a few different ways, because it's not like school, like you're not doing it at school, you're doing it like for fun, and then also you get like choked, so it's a little bit more consequences than wrestling, you know. Wrestling
so I like that one.
Wrestling, you just get held down, you know, and if you lose, it's like, oh well, you got pinned. But jiu-jitsu, you literally get choked, and you might get put to sleep, and the consequences are a little bit higher.
Dangerous. All right, William, thank you for that. So okay, so actually great segue, because I want to ask you what the biggest highlight you find of your life. It can be competitive or it can be something else, but really, like, if you think about having kids one day you guys having kids? What are you doing? You don't know? Okay, maybe we don't get into that. Okay, what do you have? Maybe be the cool uncle. I'm
already an uncle, actually.
Now you ruined my whole thing. Okay, you got kids, you got friends, whatever you got. Okay, you're old, right? You're old one day, and you're looking back. Obviously, there's gonna be a lot more experiences you don't know about yet. But when you think about telling somebody about the highlights, the highlight reel, whether it's competitive or not, what comes to mind? Like, what have you learned through those experiences, or what are you super proud of? Nothing. I was kidding.
So when I'm older and I look back and I tell my grandkids,
tell your cats,
tell my cats what my highlight of my time was. I don't know. Like, honestly, like, I feel like I've always heard that it's like fucking saying, you know, it's like not the fucking destination, you know, it's the journey.
Yeah.
It really is though. Like, and I'm happy that, because I've heard people like say too, like they're like, man, like I was just so focused on like what I was trying to do, I couldn't really sit back, relax, and enjoy, you know. But like, it is the journey. Like the titles and like competing is like my favorite, but like the titles is cool because it makes everything great. But this is what builds all this. But like, man, like traveling and hanging out and like competing next to like my friends is like it's the coolest thing. Like in the hotel or like fucking off and like being weird or like eating up, or like if somebody wins and we're all hyped for that person, you know, like going to these, or like we've traveled to like in different countries together. We've fucking, one of the coolest times I remember is when we did the trials. We were just side by side, mat by mat, just jacking motherfuckers up, and then we were like slapping each other's hands and hyping each other up. Like it was cool, you know. Like, and
then you end up in the semis together.
And then we're both on the podium with like you know, top people, and it's like, you know, it's cool. Like those are like probably, you know, the moments that I'll tell, you know. It's just like all the stories.
Yeah, I love it. The connections, the community.
Yeah.
So, because you've been all over the place lately. Can you list them? Do you remember what countries have you been to lately?
I don't know.
A lot.
Yeah, we went to Paris.
Yeah,
so that was nice.
When were you in Paris?
2019.
Oh. No, I meant like this year. You've been in like 8 countries.
Yeah, I went to.
Or maybe just the same ones for long periods of time.
Yeah, I was like in this. I was in Thailand for I don't even know, like maybe like 4 weeks or something. I was actually supposed to stay there longer, but my buddy Keaton,
he got smashed up.
He got smashed. He got a hit to the face. He went down, and then we had to like broke his jaw. Had to rush him to like the Thailand hospital. So trip was pretty much over after that.
Yeah, because his whole face was like black and blue, I think, right? I remember seeing his pictures. It was bad.
The black and blue is when he did that MMA fight.
Man, how often does this guy get smashed in the face?
He's crazy. I was out there for like 4 weeks, and then I went over to Germany and like Düsseldorf, and I went out there to like first, like they were like, yeah, you're gonna go out there and like teach and stuff, but they have really good striking there because it's an MMA gym.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no idea. I didn't even look it up. I was like,
Yeah.
all right, whatever. These guys are saying it's sick out there. I'm gonna go. And like, don't even go. I show up and I walk into this gym. These people take me in, and it's like I look in this room. It's like the pro class just finished. Just all these like Dagestani, Russian, German, all these different type of like people. And
Oh,
like,
wow.
they were just jacked. No neck, all sweaty. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I already know what it's gonna be like in here. It was so intense.
Yeah.
Bunch of like really cool high level guys there. When I went there, I didn't know where I was staying, but I ended up.
You didn't ask this question before you. Oh, all right.
I thought I was like, I'm gonna be.
We're just going.
Yeah, but it was cool. Like they put me like up above the gym.
Mm.
It was like a 3-bedroom apartment. Just
Wow.
like little rooms, like because
Wow.
we're
like little shelves.
Yeah, and like tiny, skinny little hallways,
Yeah.
one bathroom, and there was like 8 dudes staying in there.
Ooh, that's
Yeah.
cozy.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
Small kitchen, small bathroom.
So you
small
want to fight
hallways.
MMA, huh?
Yeah.
This is the life.
It was cool. There was like a lot of people from all over the place, different stories, and it was just like, damn. Like I met a couple. There was like a guy from Ukraine there. He was telling me a story. I was like, God damn, that sucks.
Yikes.
Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah.
But like I don't know. Like I learned a lot. I saw there's a lot of high level guys there. I got to train with. I got to see like how they train. You know what like I thought like honestly like I thought like I worked hard. And after seeing guys like that train, I was like, shit. There's always a little more you can do. You know, there's always that little extra. And like so I learned a lot of fucking like cool about like valuable lessons out there.
Yeah. So it is the journey. So the secret's
is.
true.
It is.
It's the journey.
The people you meet.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I was out there. Went to a couple other places out there. I was in Amsterdam. I went to Singapore, Philippines.
And this is mostly just training camps, or you're teaching, or?
Yeah, just training. Like for me, I wanted to like my thing was like I just wanted to take a break a little bit from competing, and I wanted to like step away so I could really focus on MMA because it was starting to get a little tough because it's like I was in the grappling and I really wanted to keep grappling and like do all these super fights, but also like I guess after my first pro fight, like I was like, fuck, like I need to get better. Like I need to get better. Like it's like, what am I doing? Am I doing jiu-jitsu or am I doing MMA? You
kind of had to decide.
I had to decide,
focus,
and like focus. So like that was like the decision why I was like, I'm going to Thailand. I'm just gonna like throw myself out there. Like I want to put myself in uncomfortable positions as much as I can, and I want to grow as much as I can this year. And so yeah, that was kind of like my goal. And then like so Thailand was cool. Like Thailand was for me to just kind of get out and like start it. And then when I was out there, I ended up going to Germany. And then after that, I went to all these other places, and all these other places they were like paying me to come out there, train with them, and
that's great.
And but all fighting, all MMA.
That's awesome. So you're living the journey. You're living the highlights.
Yes,
I love it. I love it. What about you, William? What's your highlight?
I mean, the highs are definitely what he's talking about, like the whole like competing together and traveling and like seeing the results of like the hard work in the gym and everything. But like that's definitely what I'll like tell, like he says, like tell your grandkids whenever you're older, and like you'll show them the pictures and the videos. Yeah, for sure.
The farm.
Yeah. But like whenever you're like looking back on it, what like means a lot to you, like I like again, it's like the journey's a reward. I really love like helping people out and teaching them, and like being in the academy and seeing like people come in and people like just got done with their 9 to 5 and they want to train and they want like seeing like the impact you can have on them just by like just showing them jiu-jitsu and rolling with them. Like I just love that. I love like the like exchange that happens and just the different people that I get to meet and learn from and have like a hopefully a positive impact on, and can have that exchange in the gym. I think jiu-jitsu for a lot of people, for like at least the people that I'm around at the gym, is like an escape for them. They go there to like get away from like family, get away from work, and just like have me time kind of. And I've always said this, but like jiu-jitsu is like the best way to forget about all the stuff that you're going through. Because when you're like going on a run, you're like you're running, but then you're like thinking about work. You're thinking about like the issues at the house.
Thinking about the girl that didn't text you back. Thinking
like,
about we're going in and out. You guys better be ready.
You think about all that stuff.
We're getting personal today. Have you seen that meme of the guy that's like has like it's like taxes, like debt, wife, it has like all these things, and then he goes into he's like in his suit and he goes into jiu-jitsu, and then he comes out and he's like all sweaty and he has like his briefcase in his hand and it's like blank.
Yeah. That's totally what it's like, because like you're not able to, unlike running, when you're running, like you can think and stuff, but when you're training, like you have to be in the moment. Like you have to like literally prevent them from like trying to break your arm, pass your guard, take your back, like whatever it may be. And like also got to like get their sweat out of your face. You got to like there's just so many things you got to deal with that are like in the moment. And I feel like that's what like people kind of miss out on, like with dealing with all the stresses of life and dealing with like the stress of work. So for at least for for me too, but for a lot of people, like jiu-jitsu is like an escape from all that, and I'm thankful that I just get like that in my like that's my livelihood, it's like jiu-jitsu. I get to do that for a living. I get to do that for fun. I get to do that just for everything. Like it's jiu-jitsu all day for me. I get to just be around people that I like to be around. We're like all coming there for one reason, and it's to like mostly get away from like the other stuff, and then or like to chase a dream, And both of those things for me are positive, and it's just I really enjoy that. I enjoy the journey that I get to experience with other people, and like I said, like hopefully have a positive impact on them too.
Yeah,
I feel like for me that's like the biggest takeaway. That's like the highlight. Again, it's like what he was talking about, like at East Coast Trials. That was like a super sick memory. That's like a core memory,
Yeah,
because like we would go out there and like he would go out there and like just take some dude down, choke him, and then like he would walk off the mat, and we were like right next to each other. So like, I would compete right after him on the same mat.
I kind of remember seeing you guys like always kind of together on the same mat. So it was crazy.
I would either compete on the mat next to him at the same time or on the same mat after him. The match after. So like I would like see him walk off the mat after he got a win. We'd like dab it up, and then I'd go out there and then I would go and fight somebody and then come back and like get warmed up again and do it all over again. It was just sick. We had so many matches over the course of those 2 days. It was so fun.
That was a crazy time.
Yeah, we're in the same division. We cut weight together, which was miserable because and if anyone has been around Andrew, they know how much energy he has. Andrew's great. We love Andrew. Andrew's awesome.
But if you're cutting, it's
like cutting weight, it's a little much. Yeah. So like Andrew's like, what's wrong with you guys? Why aren't you guys have energy and excited to compete and stuff? And we're like,
because I'm gonna die.
I haven't eaten in 2 days. Like it was just brutal, but it was just a cool overall experience. Stuff like that is great. Like he mentioned, that's just stuff that it makes it all worth it. All like the blood and sweat and tears in the gym. Whenever you fight through the injuries, you fight through the tough rounds. You pick yourself back up the next morning early and do it all over again. Those are the moments that make it all worth it.
Man, I'm so glad that you mentioned the last part because we talk about the highlights, but I love asking people about what goes on behind the scenes because it's easy to look at a podium or look at someone's Instagram or see them get a knockout or whatever it is and be like, man, like, you always hear those guys like, oh, if I could just be like that 25-year-old kid, man, with no responsibilities, just like all they do is train and win. It must be so amazing. And it's like, well, yeah, it's a great life, but there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. So I'm wondering if you guys want to talk a little bit about stuff that you think fans maybe don't see that is valuable for people to understand so that they're not seeing it as this fairy tale, or so that they can like, I find a lot of people reach out when they hear different guests or they hear just stories where they can see themselves in that person. And it's like, wow, like I could do that too. Or they're not that different from me. Like we're made of the same stuff. What comes to mind? Yeah.
I mean, I think like in general, just like the way that like throughout human history, like we're wired to like be rewarded mentally with like challenge. So like when you like fight, like face that adversity and like push through it, you'll get a sense of reward. And like I get that like almost every day because I get to like push through something really, really hard and like get through the other side and then have that sense of accomplishment. And that's, I think, where a lot of people are like depressed and like have anxiety or like massive depression and all this other stuff, or whether just like
or just
low
like unhappy. Yeah, exactly. There's unhappy.
Yeah. And it's mostly because they just like go through their 9 to 5, go home and then watch TV, eat chips, like, and then just do the same thing over and over again.
Their people.
Yeah. And they don't make it through anything like super challenging and don't get like that relief of like, oh, I accomplished something today, So like on that side of things, I do think that it's like that like dream lifestyle, so I would encourage people to do it, but I know that it's not for everybody. We see people coming to the gym all the time saying like they want to become professional athletes.
I want to be a world champion.
And they have what it takes too. Like I see the talent in them, and I see like where they're at, and I'm like, man, this guy could be really, really good. He's definitely better than I was whenever I was in his place. Like he could totally do it. But then they do it, and then it gets hard, and then they just like take the other route and go back to going to work or something. I don't know. I feel like even though that it is challenging, it's rewarding at the same time too. And the lifestyle is tough. Don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't trade it for anything else. I really enjoy the jiu-jitsu lifestyle. I enjoy the grind. I just enjoy all of it. The competing, like fighting through injuries. Like I have just now recently got back to jiu-jitsu training because at the ADCC I like got my knee ripped apart. You the same, Yeah. So like fighting through those injuries. That's what people don't see, But I think that's also like a lesson to be learned and a challenge to overcome. And after it, you become a better person. You fight through the injury, and you do all the PT, you do everything else to get back up on your feet. And then you look back over your shoulder and you're like, wow, I literally became a better person getting through all of that. I went through like some of the highest highs, which for me, that was like the highest high. I made it to ADCC. I punched my ticket after failing 3 times the trials. I made it to the finals at the hardest trials to date in the biggest division, and I won it. It was just like the coolest moment of my life. And then I made it to ADCC and like the huge crowd, and it was just so sick. And then I got subbed in the first round, like 2 minutes in, and got my knee ripped apart. And so it was like I was at like the highest high, and it just boom, rocketed down to like square zero, and even like into the dirt, And then I had to like pull myself out of that, like tell myself to shake it off, get up, and get back to work. And looking back at that, I'm like, yeah, that sucked really bad, but there was also some like really good that came from that. And I wouldn't have experienced some of that good if, I didn't have to go through that adversity. Adversity is important. And again, it's that reward factor. Next time I go out there and I compete and I win, it's going to feel like so much different because I had to climb through all this adversity, pull myself out of the gutter, get myself through the injury, and then get back to it, and then see the success, just fighting through it.
Yeah, man, I think when it's really easy to have faith in it's really easy to enjoy stories like that once you see the win that comes after it, or you see like, oh, I had this horrible thing and then like I came back and won the worlds, or I had this. But when you're in it and you don't have the guarantee, or you don't have the certainty of like, okay, well, this is going to come next, like the incredible amount of faith that it takes in whatever you believe in, but really in yourself, like to be like, okay, I'm going to stick to what I said I was going to do, and I'm going to continue to do like the next right step, even though there's no promise of getting the thing that I want to get. I think that's the really intense thing with combat sports, is in a lot of other avenues as well, but particularly in combat sports because it can steal so much of your health, right? It's like we're doing all of these things and there's no guarantee that even if you do all the right stuff, like the quote unquote right stuff that you're prescribed to do, that you're going to get. And so then when you're in those dark moments, I think pulling yourself out, like you were saying, you can look back and it creates the person that you are becoming. Like you're writing your story of like your integrity, your reputation, the man that you're becoming every single day. It's not like, oh, once I get this accomplishment, like then I'll be proud of myself. Like it's really those moments that it comes. Seems like.
Totally. And then you see people like, really young people that are winning and at the top. And jiu-jitsu, even though it's getting bigger, it's still small, So like you kind of got to be like the best of the best in order to like be really making it, So like if you're not like getting those results, like it's really like it's discouraging because you're like, crap, I didn't get the result, and then now I'm hurt. So now I'm set back. So like I didn't get the result then when I was healthy, and then now I got to climb out of this injury and then get the result after the injury. Like it can be like a little bit stressful, but it's just trusting the process, Like you said, whatever you believe in, whether it's trusting God, trusting yourself. I believe I was raised in a Christian home. So like for me, like it's really easy to put my faith in God and just keep pushing forward and trust the process and trust like the people around me that I'm putting myself in the right situation and I'm like pushing forward. It's a little bit easier for me, than like maybe some other people that lack the faith, but like it's a process. You can like be at the highest high and then go straight down to the lowest low, and it can be tough, but you just got to keep moving forward. And that's the jiu-jitsu lifestyle. And really that's why I think jiu-jitsu transfers so well, especially at a young age, to regular life, because that's the same thing for anything. You work in a regular job and you get fired. Like you're like, I got that on my resume now. I just got fired. And then now I got to look for a new job. I got to make rent and all this other stuff. Like it's climbing back out of the gutter and getting back to it. It's whatever area of life you're in. You know, and jiu-jitsu at least teaches that to me at a young age, and I'm really thankful for it.
I love it. I love it. All right, Kody, after that spectacular answer, no pressure, but no, for real. Like, what goes on behind the scenes for you? What do the fans not see, or what do you think like would interest people to know? And like, what do you struggle with really when it comes to the life that you're living?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some times like that I remember. Like I remember being in moments in my life where I was like, man, I was like, I'm gonna remember this. Like to this day, I'm gonna remember this struggle. I'm gonna remember like.
Oh, this just gave me chills. I've had like so many. I'm like looking out at something in a gym or whatever, and I'm like, I'm gonna know this exact vision, and I'm never gonna forget this shit ever.
I hope everyone has these because like
take pictures with your mind because you don't want to forget.
Yeah, and it's like it's extremely valuable, you know, because like now when I look back at those times, because like at the time it was like it was dark for me. Like I was like living at home, you know, with my mom, and I was just doing jiu-jitsu. I was like blue, purple belt, you know, like not like I said, I was not good at school. Didn't go to school. Wasn't working a job. Wasn't going to school. Wasn't doing nothing.
You were early 20s ish or like 2021.
Yeah, like it was like honestly like through like right after high school / like mid like in there too because like out of high school it was rough too because I would move to my school and like everyone's like, hey, where you going to college? You going to UT, Texas State? Where you going? I was like, yeah, I'm not going to school.
Nah, man, I'm gonna fight.
I'm gonna do that at Tang. So like you know like and then I'm doing jiu-jitsu. I'm losing tournaments. I'm scrolling on Instagram, looking at all these guys travel all over to these IBJFs, winning the worlds. I'm not even breaking past the second, third round, you know? So I'm like, all right, I'm not very good at this. Dude, so brutal. And like, I would just, you know, I was like, I remember like one time I was just like, man, I'm like looking left, I'm looking right, I'm looking behind me, I'm looking forward. There's just nothing. There's no light. It's all dark here, you know? And like,
when was that?
I was like definitely probably like purple belt. Like this is like the time. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was like because I knew you guys were still around. Thanks, what's his face was around, and like I was at this point, like I almost was even like filling out job applications. I was about to like throw it in and be like, all right, fuck this. But it's like those times were the really hard ones. Like this one time, this guy like saw me. We were at a tournament, like same bracket or whatever. This guy's he's not cool, but like he was like yeah,
spicy.
He was like, yeah, we can't. He's like, I was like, yeah, good luck or whatever. It's gonna be a tough day tomorrow. And he was just like, yeah, you know, you know what I mean? We all can't be like Kody Steele. We all gifted. I'm like, bitch.
Wait, we all what?
We can't be like gifted and be all like talented like Kody Steele. I'm like, bro, like shut the fuck up. You know, like the only reason like you know like whatever confidence is because like I feel like I do work hard. You know, like I do the rounds, I do the study, I do the extra, I do the lifting, I do all that. So like sometimes people like will come into the gym and like I really believe like when these people tell me like I want to be world champion and all this, it's like, oh, you can, you know, but what you want to sacrifice, what you want to do, you know, because coming to classes in the morning and evening to me is like bare minimum in a way, you know, you gotta like
if you're trying to be professional, right,
you gotta eat good, you know, you gotta sleep good, you gotta lift, you gotta, you know, you gotta do all these little things and then you know it can happen, but it's it's that's the tough part, you know, because most people like they have jobs and then they'll be like, I want to do this. They train. I'm like, all right, cool. Now let's do this for all year. Let's not stop. You know, there's
let's do this for like 3-4 years before you start making money.
And then exactly. There's no money. There's nothing. And like I said, like all my friends were like going to college. I'm not making money. I'm doing jiu-jitsu. And then they're graduating college. Still not making money. Just doing jiu-jitsu. You know, and then. Now they have jobs, and then I was like, "What the fuck?" Like those were really not fun times for me mentally, you know. But then, like you know, competing and like I think you know, like I said, like I'm really blessed and happy that I've like had William in my life. You know, look at him; he's like helping me out with all my shit. You know,
I know.
Like I said, I had like no friends growing up because I was homeschooled, and like I had like semi friends in the gym, but I was always like the youngest out of like my entire friend group, so I wasn't like accepted for lack of better terms because I was just a young kid, you know. But like whenever we moved to Fight Factory, I started training with Kody. We were like together like almost 24/7. Like we would travel together, we would compete together, we would train together, we would even like like lift weights together, go run bleachers. We would like sleep on the mats together. Like we'd do everything together. And it was just like a huge like change in my life that like, I don't really think that I would maybe even doing jiu-jitsu professionally. I'd probably just have a gym by now. If I hadn't met Kody, I'd probably just open up a gym when I got my black belt, and I'd probably maybe still be at the team that I was at previously and just be kind of like a hobbyist jiu-jitsu coach and maybe compete here and there at like local nagas and stuff. And I don't really know if I'd like be living the dream that I am now, you know, like it's just a completely different reality that I didn't really think that I would have. My goal when I was a kid, and I had this goal at like 8 years old. I was like, when I turn 18, I'm flying to Brazil and I'm going to train and get my black belt. And then I'm going to come back and open up a gym. That's what my goal was.
Wow.
Now I'm 21 and I'm not even close to open up a gym. I'm just competing. So it's just completely changed around, you know? And that's all from meeting people like Kody and Rodrigo. So like, I'm super thankful.
Yeah. Like it's good, you know, like the other thing too, you know, like having like, or like wanting to chase, like you really want to surround yourself with like people who want the same thing. Like me and William back in the day, we would always talk about fighting, you know, bigger names and like winning tournaments and like traveling and like spacing off with these guys that we, you know, we've always like looked at like, oh my God, these guys are gods, you know? So it's like
you idolize them.
And like, so it's like, you know, and that's like another thing too, is like for us, like we had to like go compete. And a lot of people I see in the community, like some people, everybody's so good at jiu-jitsu now, like everybody's good. But when you go compete, it's like a different animal, you know, like you have to get over a mental barrier. Like, oh man, I'm fighting such and such, like, you know, like, and I think that hinders people. See, that's something else a lot of people like don't see, or actually they do, they feel everybody feels that.
But maybe seeing it from the outside, like I think even as athletes sometimes you forget that everybody feels the same, and so it's easy to look at people who have this like confident persona, and it's not that it's a bad or a good thing, it's just the way they carry themselves, and it's like, oh man, like am I the only one who feels like this? Like, oh my gosh,
like that guy can't get nervous. That guy's the world's best. He can't get nervous. You know, he's top 10. There's no way. Like I'm just this guy. I get nervous. That's why I'm not as good. You know? You don't realize that like everyone struggles with it. It's just about like conquering that like inner monkey mind, you know?
Yeah. It's interesting when you said like the guy at the tournament was like, oh, like you're just, you know, you're athletic. Like we can't all be like you. I'm sure you get that a lot because your style is really like gymnastic-y, like very. What was it at the trials? You hit how many suplexes in a row?
3.
Like a lot. Yeah.
Doinked them.
It was a lot. And so it's in like people might even project that onto you too, where it's like, oh, I can't be like Kody Steele, you know?
But like I don't know, like for me, like I don't ever want to be like anybody, you know, like I want to have my own brand, my own style, you know, like for a while, for like a long time when me and William were training, I was like, man, I gotta do this because my guard's gotta be better. But it's like it's just for me, it doesn't work. Like I've learned a lot from him, but like I'm not a guard player. You know? So it's really hard for me to like do things. So it's like for me, like I always like look at other people's styles. I take what I can use, I learn, but like
leave the rest.
And I leave the rest, and I just believe in my own product, you know. So, but it's it's tough out there. You gotta have a strong mind, you know.
Well, I was gonna ask, what do you think is the most important thing when you're talking about, and William, I definitely want to hear from you too, like when you're talking about those dark times where you're like, man, I'm filling out job applications, like I don't even know if this is what I'm gonna like. What are the most important things to make sure, or if someone is going through a time like that, or man, like looking into the future, there are probably going to be more hard times, or times where you still have a strong sense of faith in yourself, but questions creep in, or doubts creep in, or just things happen that are unexpected, and it's like, wow, like how am I going to make it through this? What's the most important thing, like a couple of things to have going on in your life to make sure that you can keep stepping into the person you want to be?
Honestly, like there's like I'm trying to think of it. I'm trying to describe it. It's Michael Phelps. He's swimming. He's swimming his ass off to the finish line. And you can see the guy in the picture looking over at Michael Phelps, you know, and it's like winners focus on winning and losers focus on winners, you know. So win or lose, whatever's going on with my head, you know, I always think about like keeping my blinders up. I don't give a fuck what people say or think about me. I want to just keep doing this because this is what I like to do. It's what I love to do, you know. And also like I said, like having great people around you, you know, if you want to reach high highs, you know, you have to have people smarter around you, stronger, faster, everything. Like everyone has to be better than you around you, you know, and like having good, positive people, you know, same mindset. We all want to be world champs. Got it. We're all good people, you know, Like, you can't be hanging out with crackheads. You can be doing crack.
Is that the only limit, though?
Yeah,
I mean,
not crackheads.
As long as they're not doing crack, then they can hang out with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. Wow. I'm gonna put that out there.
You're a hard worker.
You can hit the DMs if. Yeah, that's the minimum. I like it. All right. What about you, William? What do you think is most important?
What was the question again?
Like, when you're thinking about those times that have happened in the past or times that are to come in the future, when it's like, man, I might start to have doubts creep in, or it's just like unexpected, man, like ADCC, right? You had this unexpected thing. You went in hoping for the moon, and you like in your first match, you went from, like you said, the highest high to the lowest low. And in those scenarios, I think sometimes fans or practitioners, and if they haven't competed at that level, it's hard to understand that a lot of times the low outpowers however high that high was. Like the sting is dark, like it's really dark. So when you're thinking about like I've heard Olympic athletes say before, like the pain of the loss is not even worth the glory of the win. You know, they're like, you have to like your life, because the win is not going to make the life worth it, because the losses are so bad, right? So when you're thinking about those kinds of scenarios that you might end up in that are either unexpected or you're just going through different things, what is the stuff that pulls you out of it? What do you think is most important to build into your foundation so that you're prepared when those things do happen?
Yeah, I mean, I think those Olympic athletes that say that just don't really enjoy the lifestyle the way some of us do, you know?
Right.
Like, I enjoy and embrace the grind. I like the challenge, you know? And I like just living this lifestyle. It's great, you know? I wouldn't trade it for everything else. I see a bunch of people unhappy doing, you know, other things, and I like what I do, you know? But, like, just bouncing off what he said, you know, we're going to have similar answers because we're, you know, practically brothers. But like, I think that having a really strong support group and like a strong friend group and a strong like team, for lack of better words, that's really important to pull you out of the dark times, right? Like sometimes, I mean, you lose a match, like you go and sit in the corner and like don't want to talk to nobody, right?
Yeah.
And you need time to yourself. But like
Cry.
after that, like you got to get up off your butt. You got to go like talk with your friends. You got to get them to encourage you.
Coach your
you
teammates.
Yeah.
Right.
And like, I mean, right after I lost at the ADCC, like wasn't 10 minutes. Like these dudes were already found where I was like hiding in a corner and already came up and was like hugging me and telling me everything's gonna be okay and everything. So like, that's just part of it. Having like that good support group, having those good friends around you. And like, also there's so much access to content nowadays. Like, you know, we're doing this right now, like content, you know, people telling you that just stick to the process and trust the process. I've heard that like my whole life from the higher.
So simple, guys. Right?
Yeah. Every seminar I've been to, whether it be Shanji Hibero, Lovato Jr., Gordon Ryan, all these guys, like when you ask them, like, what does it take? They're just
what's
like,
the secret?
They're like, just keep going. Like, just, it's a recipe. It's a formula. It's like math, right? You could get a result if you just stick at it. Like, keep the process up. Don't give up. Stay with consistency. Don't be inconsistent, because that's a huge thing that people do. They like go really hard and fall off. Go really hard and fall off. Like, you know, marathon, like slow and steady wins the race. Hit like what you can handle for long term and keep that up and constantly push those boundaries. Like that's what's gonna get you through it, you know. And having those people around you like to help encourage you in those ways, that's kind of what can pull you out of that dark place, you know, because you get there and you're like, man, I worked so hard for this. Like I've been training for 12 years, 13 years, you know, like I've been working for this moment and I let it slip through my fingers and then, you know, all this stuff. You think that and you're like, well, you know, I still got 10 more years. Like I still have double the amount of time that I've competed. Let's just keep going. Like get to keep going. They say that it's just trust the process. They're encouraging me and those people around you encouraging you is important. So if you have that, you know, if you don't have that, look for another team, look for another.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Like, what would you say to the people that are like, well, I don't really have that, or I don't know how to find it, or like I have friends, but it's not really like that, or I have teammates, like whether they're in jiu-jitsu or not. I mean, how do you build that? Yeah,
it's tough, right? I mean, finding good friends is hard because not everyone's great people. You know, not everyone's. Some people might be great people, but not great friends. You know, so it's tough to find that. You know, and I'm lucky to have found that with my team and my friends, the people that I'm around. But like, you know, because some people might be great people and great friends, but if they don't train jiu-jitsu, they just don't understand. You know, like I guarantee you, I mean, I've had friends over the years or even family members that like are great people and love me a lot and I love them a lot. And then be like, man, what are you doing? You get to go to school. Like, you know, you're still doing that jiu-jitsu thing. You're still living at home. You're not making money yet. Like, you know, you should, and they want what's best for me. And that's why they're telling me that. And that's why they're encouraging me to like do something else. But like,
they live in a different box. Exactly. Like, and it's not a bad box, but it's a different box.
Yeah. It's completely different than what I do. And it's different than what I want to do. And that's why it's important to have people that understand you and understand the lifestyle. So like having people, if you don't have that, like if you have like no teammates to help support you and help encourage you, no coaches to do that, like not a good friend group that's helping you grow, like you need to find a new friend group. And I'm not saying like get rid of those other people. Those people are still great, you know, to be in your life and stuff, but you need people around you to encourage you and help you through the process. Because I mean, this is not bad. There's great things that come from this lifestyle. You know, you get like a huge reach to people. Like, I mean, we're on a podcast right now talking about this. Like, this is great, you know?
We love the peace signs.
Yeah.
We're peace sign pros around here.
Yeah. Spreading peace and love, you know? But, you know, yeah, we're like, we got like good positivity coming from this. You know, we're being able to reach other people through social media, through like content, through just competing. Like, just by competing, I've seen people that like are famous for competing and have like little social media presence. They still have like an impact on people. They're like, man, I love watching you compete. You inspire me a ton. Every time I watch you compete, I want to become better. I want to eat healthy. I want to work out. Like, just that alone, that's like a really good reward for just like living this lifestyle, you know? And yeah, totally.
What do you think, Kody? What about the people who are like, man, I want that, but I can't find it? Like, is there something that you think people are not doing to like, how can you be the person that's attracting that? Like, do you think that a lot of times people are not being what they want, or they're just not surrounding themselves with the right people? Because I get this question all the time, which is why I'm asking you guys, because I know you have a really tight knit community with the people that you're training with all the time, you're competing with all the time, and a lot of people look at that and they're like, man, am I doing something wrong? Like, how do they find that?
Yeah, I don't know. You know?
Like, unless they go to the On It Invitational, and then
it's all destiny. You know? No, I think things like that sometimes it could be a couple of things. You know, like one, you know, sometimes you need to like make sacrifices in your life. You know, like William, when he was at his gym training with Rabadi, you know, I went over there and then trained with them a little bit, and they came and checked my pelt. You know, they took a risk about, you know, cutting with their professor that they've been with, you know, since the day one, you know.
Yeah, and they're great over there. Like, they're really nice. Yeah, it's not like you had some big blow up reason to leave.
No, and
like,
it was tough too, because I love those guys. I still love them, you know. And like, it was like heartbreaking to leave them, because it's like, you know, he's envisioned since I was a kid to give me my black belt one day, and like now I'm like leaving teams, and like it's just been family since day one, and now it's like, crap, I gotta like end this chapter in my life. So like, you got it. I mean, it was a big sacrifice, you know.
Yeah, it's like, you know, that's one thing that a lot of people, you know, want to do but don't want to do because it's outside, you know, your comfort zone. And ain't nobody want to go outside there.
No.
It's cold out there.
It's to be cold out there.
So, you know, you gotta make the sacrifices and change up some things. And then another thing too is like, I feel like, you know, you need to have a good energy for yourself. You know, you need to be someone who wants to be around that person, you know, like eat good, you know, do the little things, and like they be big, you know, like be consistent, come to the gym, work out, have relationships with people, you know, and also like setting an example. You know, if I was doing, like, if I do push-ups every day after class, people are gonna be like, what the fuck, you know, like, damn, he's crazy. And then but after a while, like, people would start to join in, you know. So I think, you know, it's energy, you know, how you are like bringing people in. If you're a strange guy, you have a weird vibe, people like don't want to be around you.
If you know you're homeschooled and didn't make any friends, and you're
you know, so yeah, it's kind of, I think it goes around with a lot of different kind of things, you know. But I've seen before, like, I went to this academy one time, and they were like asking me questions like, how do you, like, you know, like, how'd you get good, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, like, okay, there's 4 of you guys. I was like, there's you keep him accountable. Someone set the example and someone set the tone, you know. Like, let's go. And then I was like, you drill, you feed off each other. Like, people don't like know all the time, because now people, when they see like me, William, or even now Andrew, they see us and they're like, damn, we want to train there, or we want to be like those guys. It's like,
we want to go find something that we can't create ourselves. But
like me and William, like, Andrew was there, but Andrew was like still very tiny and crazy. You know, he was there, he was just tiny,
still crazy, but just not as tiny.
So like, you know, at the time it was like me and William a lot. Like, it was just me and him going at each other. Like, I remember one time we were getting ready for Nogi Worlds, and we were just morning lifting, like noon training, like hard. Like, we didn't really understand about like taking rest days at this point. We were just like scrapping in the gym, come back, Rodrigo would be teaching. I'd be like falling asleep on the mat.
Rodrigo is teaching though, because Rodrigo comes from Brazil, where it's just like porrada every day.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We haven't like really figured out how to train yet, so he's just like telling us, "Go hard, guys, go hard." We're just like
just
trying to
more.
kill each
How
other.
much more?
We were just like murdering each other, but like then we were drilling together,
And this is for years too. I think people
like,
forget, like this is day after day after day after day, compounding for years.
2016, I joined their team, so like it's been a long time, and it's been consistency the whole time. I can't think of a time where like one of us was just like, I'm gonna take a week off. I don't feel like it. I don't want to change it, or even one class. Like I don't even think one of us has just not come to class because we just weren't feeling it. It's either because we've been hurt or sick.
Right.
Other than that, like we've been at class and we've been like on the grind. It's been consistency. It's not like we went to a team that had like high level guys, and that's what a lot of people. I think that's where we are a lot different than a lot of other teams, because a lot of other teams, like they start big, or you join a team that's big and you get good.
You kind of fall into the momentum they already have.
Yeah, and you don't necessarily need that. I'm not saying that that's bad. That's great, but like a lot of people think that's what they need to become like great. You just need consistency and like a good support group.
Yeah. I think a lot of times I find so much strength, and I've heard that story a lot, of the sense of like, I just needed one person. Like that's kind of how it was for me in the color belts too. Like had one person. It was like we held each other accountable, the drilling, the training, like, and you can't not show up for that person, because you can't not show up for yourself, because if you're not showing up for yourself, you're also letting that person down. So that high sense of accountability, when people look at you and they ask the question like, well, how do I build that community? It's like, well, through a lot of shared suffering, like for one thing, and the key word is build. Like you didn't fall into this group of like, oh, everyone just loves me and supports me now. It's like, well, I gave that energy out to them every single day for years, and now it's like that's my brother for life, or like that's my person for life. Like they have my back no matter what, because we've like earned that relationship.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of things. Like I said, it goes back to energy too. You have to enjoy your environment. Like sometimes people will ask me like, "Hey, I'm moving to this place. Should I train at this gym or this gym or this gym?" I was like, "Well, bro, it's like this gym, like this, kind of cool.
Yeah.
This professor, he's a badass. There's this guy, but like this place is really good. But it's just like go try them all and see which vibe you fit. Like which place you like more. Like it just because these people are good. Like sometimes if you go into a room full of sharks and like you're just another like little person, and and you don't learn.
You're just another little fish.
Yeah, like nobody pays attention to you. You just kind of get lost in the sea. But
like Nemo.
Yeah, exactly. But if you have like maybe you enjoy the training, might not be as tough as this was, but you enjoy the professor, you enjoy the people. Like I feel like what I like. For me, it's easy for me sometimes to be consistent to come to class, because like I love like going to class. I love teaching my class. Like I play music, I hype people up. It's a fun time. It's not just like, oh, we're doing this. Like it's a good time to be there and good people. And there's a lot of factors that could like kind of go into that,
Yeah, I like the key of like where you said you were in that gym and there's 4 guys, and it's like, well, how do we make? And it's like, well, man, you just start. You like ask this guy to do this, you show up at this time, you make a plan, and like you hold each other accountable and you do it. And you do that enough times with the same people, and you start building a bond that like it really binds people together in that sense of like the people you go to school, either that you see at work sometime, like on, whatever, in your 9 to 5, like you're not having those same kinds of experiences. Like the level of commitment you have to each other to show up and work hard. And I mean, like suffer sounds so negative, but I think like shared suffering is a great thing. Like it's a good thing. You don't find that with most people. Most people are not having those experiences with their peers.
Yeah, no, it's not, and it's hard too, like, because I said, like, you got to surround yourself with people who want to be the best, like I'm lucky that William's like always been that way, like Andrew's, he's always wanted to be the best, so it's like it's easy when you kind of have like when you run into people who are already like that, but sometimes like it's hard to believe in yourself, it's really, really hard to believe in yourself. Your mind's against you for some reason. I don't know what it is.
We're
I don't
wired,
know why.
yeah,
we're wired very strange.
Yeah. Just your brain telling you like, oh, you're good where you're at, you can survive here, versus like living like beyond that.
Yeah, I mean, we are wired for survival. Like you were saying, it was cold out there, like outside of the comfort zone, man. Your brain's like, nah, you could just stay home. Like you don't really need to do that. Like we're good where we're at. Oh, you might you might get fucked up, so we could just stay here. So it's like having those people that expect you to show up and do the thing that you said you were going to do, that may like generate some of those emotions and feelings, is so powerful. You can do so much more than you can do on your own.
Yeah. And like I said, you need people around you that are smarter than you, faster than you, you know, stronger, and just like those are the type of people you need around you. Like if you can get a team like that, get a crew, then you know you're solid.
Yeah.
You know,
and if you don't have it, build it.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
that's
Build
the main
it.
thing.
And you don't need like someone to be stronger, faster, better than you. You need like somebody that's stronger.
One
than
of
you,
this, one of
somebody
them.
that's
You need a
faster than
buffet.
Somebody's you know, like you can take, and like when we train, like I'll train with somebody at the gym that's not necessarily like the highest level in the world, but they're really good at one thing. So like I'll like start
Put yourself in that.
I'll put myself in that scenario. Like we got a white belt at the gym, big like buff dude, and he wrestled since he was like 8.
Yeah.
But he's like a white belt and he's not very good at jiu-jitsu. So I could pull guard and leg lock him all I want.
Yeah.
Like, you know, infinity times. But why would I do that? It's not making me better. You know, it's like I'm just gonna wrestle with him the whole time because that's what's gonna make me better. You know, you don't necessarily need the guys to beat you in every single area. You can just like you can work around it, you know. It's like constructive thinking, you know.
But it takes that discipline to not just want to like big dog it all the time either, right? I think
It's
a lot
ego. It's the ego. You know, you can't let your ego drive you, you know, in this lifestyle at least. But like, you know, if I'm like, oh, I want to just win matches, then I'm just gonna pull guard and leg lock him over and over again. But like that's just feeding my ego and that's not making me better.
And it's not making him better either. And I think going back to building a team or building a community, it's like if you are just treating things in that selfish way all the time and you're never like if he's not going to get better from doing that because you're just smashing him over and over and over, it's like why does he want to show up and like give you his best? You know, it should be that exchange of energy. I mean, that's literally the definition. Well, that's not true. It's not the definition of a relationship, but it's like, you know, really
kind of
symbiotic relationship.
Still, don't Google that. I don't know if that's it. But there's a lot of energy exchange, so we could just call it that.
Yeah, but it's like a symbiotic relationship. There's like benefit for both.
Oh, okay. Wait, hold on. Say that again. Homeschool over here knows way more than me. Okay, symbiotic. Yeah. Can you Google that for me? Thank you. Scylla's on it now. Let's go.
It's like a bird that lives on a rhino.
Oh.
They like eat like this dead skin or something off of it. But then the rhino gets clean. So it's like a symbiotic relationship. So like,
oh, that's so cute. I think it's SYM. Symbiotic. So, do you got it? Let's hear it.
Involving interaction between two different organisms.
Involving
close physical association.
Can you hear that on the mic? Do I need to repeat that? I feel like I could hear you. Yeah, that was loud. Good job. Wait, did you say repeat it? You guys heard it. If not, you can Google it.
Like the bird and rhino.
The bird and the rhino. That's all you need. Yeah.
I don't even know what she said.
Symbiotic relationships are good. That's pretty good.
That's what you need in your training group. You need a symbiotic relationship. You know, it's not like a one-sided thing.
Yeah. And everywhere too. I mean, I love how you keep saying like you need someone smarter, stronger, faster. Like I actually was who was I just talking to this about? Oh, you were there. I was talking to Victor Hugo about this yesterday, and he was saying like one of the most important things to me is having people around me that know more. Like all the time, like how many like wise, experienced people in different areas, like, right? Like business, relationships, whatever it is, like how many wise people can I surround myself with to ask questions and to train with? This guy has a really good leg lock game. This guy has this guy has this. This guy has a really successful business. This guy has been happily married for like 30 years. Like, you know, finding these people that have the knowledge or the experience that you don't and asking them as much as you can. And then giving back to them in any way that you can so that you can be like the bird on the rhino.
Yeah. Pecking the bugs off. You know?
Perfect. Okay, so man, you guys have given us so much amazing information, and I'm excited now to find out about what you're excited about in the next 15 years. When you look at how old are you? 21. I can do it. It's 36. There we go. Oh, you're faster than me. Okay. now I'm getting competitive. Okay. He out definitioned me, out mathed me. So when you think about being 36, 40, that time frame, what are you most excited about?
I don't even know. It's hard.
He said, "Give me the mic. I got to answer for this."
Well, it's hard to think that far ahead, right? Because like so much has changed in my life in the past 5 years. I can imagine like what 15 would be like, or 10, you know, or whatever. It's like that's a lot of time, you know.
Yeah.
And I think things compound too. Like it's like a snowball effect. Like the more you put in now, like the exponential growth you have later on. So like I'm grinding right now. So who knows? You know, I mean, ideally, like I'll have, you know, successful business.
You want to run a school, you mean? Or you're just open to any?
Yeah, well, I'm actually launching like an online platform right now too for like instructionals and stuff.
Tell me about it. It's
called Grapple Gallery.
Okay.
So
I like that name. Okay.
Yeah. So I'll just have like, I don't really know exactly what it's going to be yet, but I've already put up some stuff. Over the next week, we'll have a full free instructional up, and then
Nice.
more paid stuff eventually. But hopefully it'll be kind of like subscription based, where you can just
Yeah.
access a bunch of content for like not a ridiculous amount
Yeah,
every month.
yeah.
You know?
Well, we'll link it in
And-
the show notes so if people can check it
Cool.
out.
Yeah,
That's
thanks.
cool. I'm
So,
excited.
just hopefully we'll just keep moving forward, having like a positive impact wherever I go, and just really enjoying life, Yeah, it's really hard to think like where to be at that far. It's just insane,
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't even be able to imagine, because I couldn't imagine that like whenever I started training with Kody and Rodrigo in 2016 that I would be like where I'm at now. Like I wanted to be, but like imagining that is like two different things.
Yeah.
I remember when Rodrigo, I was in his car, he was driving me back home or something one day, and he was like, and it was like right when I kind of first started training with him. So he was like kind of picking my brain and seeing where I was at. It's like 15 or something.
Oh, you're super young. Yeah.
Yeah. And he was like, so like, what do you want to do in the next like 3 years or something? And I was like, well, I want to, maybe I want to win the trials coming up, because I was going to compete in the trials. And I was like, I want to win, like, I want to compete in the trials and go to ADCC and stuff. He's like, you just want to go to ADCC? Like
yeah.
what's I'm like, well, I want to win it. And he's like, all right, well, let's put it into action, So like, that was like my vision, but like to see myself actually like completing a lot of the tasks and getting there is like almost unimaginable in that time. You think you see that, but it looks so far ahead that it looks almost unreachable. But the more you work, it's just the closer it gets, and time flies. Looking back at the first day that I came trained at Fight Factory, it feels like in a way yesterday, but then like so much has happened in between that it's
a lifetime.
It feels like a lifetime, but like you can blink and be back in that moment, and it doesn't feel like that long ago. So, I mean, who knows? 15 years from now, I have no idea. Yeah. I'm just excited for the ride and praying for a safe journey.
That's good. I like the little the caveat at the end. What about you, Kody? What do you think? Next 15 years.
All right.
More stories for the cats.
Next 15 years. Yeah, like he was saying, it's pretty hard to like think that far. I mean, I know because when I started doing this fighting journey or whatever, like my idea was like it's just like the same thing. Like when I graduated high school, I was like, I don't know what I want to do.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna give myself a couple years, 2 years, whatever, see where I'm gonna land, and then we go from there. If not, I go to military.
That was the backup.
That was my backup.
All right.
Out of high school.
What did your mom think about that backup, or did she know about the backup?
I mean, I don't know. She I was like, if shit hits the fan, I'm going to the military.
Peace.
Yeah, I'm out of here. So that's how that's when I started doing like jiu-jitsu and like fighting. Like I was like, all right, my goal when people ask me what I want to do is I want to open up my gym. Like, what are you doing? Like, not making money, but one day when I have my own jiu-jitsu gym, like that'll be my thing. And to this day, I'm still, thinking about that. Like I have, like hopefully with this fighting, like I'm hoping that I take it all the way and I make that good money and have good investments, and I feel like with the people that I know and like connections, like I can make that happen for myself,
and build a career, right? Instead of just being like, oh, I had a couple fights.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm not having a couple fights. I'm gonna have a career. Like I was cutting weight and I was like, God damn, I gotta do this like 20 more times. I was like, no way.
How much are you cutting right now for your pro fights? A lot.
Yeah. I'm like
what are you making right now? What are you fighting at?
I'm I'm sitting at like 180, like that.
But what are you fighting at though?
155.
Yeah, you guys can't see on the camera. William's not having that answer. He said, maybe that's a little low as an estimate.
Yeah, I'm addicted to pancakes.
Breakfast food is like the best food of all time. You can eat it any time of the day. I'll take any breakfast food all day long. Okay, so you're something around there. And what are you making?
I'm going all the way down to 155.
Wow.
Parkour.
All right.
Not fun.
20 more times. We're going.
But
so the career, all right. So we're gonna have like a weight cut career.
Yeah. So that'll be fun. But like I'm hoping like by that time I've made my money, I've had my investments, and like I still want, a gym. Like I wanna I want to have a good vibe, a good energy, like a good, like I feel like I can attract a fun place for adults to come and hang out.
A fun place for adults, so not kids club, not McDonald's.
Exactly. And like sometimes like jiu-jitsu, like I'm in the gym, people come up to me like, man, my life, man. I'm like, damn, I'm a therapist sometimes. I feel like, but I don't mind it, all the time. It's like, like you're giving these people an outlook, you're having you have like a jiu-jitsu family, and it's like this is family, over at Five Factory, that's family. My friends, that's like my dad, so it's like, like I want to have these relationships. I want to build, good competitors. I want to, be in this. And I've thought about that, and I've also thought about getting on the sauce like at 35 when I'm done with MMA. Maybe go back into jiu-jitsu.
I like it. Coming back to Masters World.
I'll be sauced up though.
Just come back to who's someone like, I'm back, bitch. It's been a while, but
y'all remember me? I'm way more jacked.
we still got suplexes up. Don't you worry.
So maybe like I think about that too. Maybe like when I'm done with MMA, get on the sauce and hitting the mats again.
I like it.
Hardcore part.
I like
and
it.
then having the gym.
All right, I like it. It's a good life.
If I could say something, I think it's kind of hard to I think this lifestyle, it's important to not look too far ahead too. Although it is important to take steps forward in life and not just stay where you're at.
Yeah.
But what we do every day pushes us forward and
right.
Projects us in the direction we want to go. So I think it's important to not look forward. So that's why I'm it's hard to imagine. I don't really know because I'm not trying to think about that. I'm not trying to worry about that. People ask me where you want to be next year. Where do you well, I'm just same thing. I'm on the same goal and I'm still pushing forward. You got to just be consistent and just keep moving forward. It's just, you can't think too far ahead because then you get your eye off the prize, what's in front of you. You gotta take this lifestyle one step at a time. Things are in front of you and that's what you got to focus on.
Right.
You can't be thinking about 10 things down the line because then you're going to mess up all this stuff along the way. Your focus has got to be on what's right now.
And things are going to change anyway. I think that's something that I learned pretty young. When you have these long range plans, man, something happens in the first 6 months of that plan. And now the thing that was supposed to be 5 years down the line, you're not even interested anymore, or it just completely changes. Or maybe that thing that was 5 years is now going to be maybe you thought the plan was going to take way longer and it shows up in 1 year. And now you didn't really, prepare yourself for that. That's another thing too.
Disappointed. You get disappointed because what you thought that was going to happen in 15 years, whether you're going to meet the love of your life and have a house and a happy family and kids and a
then
business and all this and things and things don't go exactly the way you want then you get depressed and stuff. If you just focus on what's in front of you, for example, I want to win 5 world titles at this time, by this date and stuff.
It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, and then you mess up one thing, now crap, your whole dream's destroyed. You got to focus on what's now, and then if that fails, okay, right back, next task. What's next in front of me? Got to keep moving forward. Just constantly looking at the next thing in front of you and going forward. At least that's what's kind of carried me through the years of competing and training jiu-jitsu so far.
Yeah.
That's I would say that's super important. If I started when I started jiu-jitsu or I started I had goals, I've written them down back in the day and I'm holy shit, I've gone past this. I didn't know this was even possible for me to do. Obviously there's a couple of things I didn't do, but for the majority of them I was damn, I did way more than I thought I was gonna do, so it's but you also too I also talking about having high goals, I want to be a world champion 5 times. Oh, you didn't get it, but you got one.
Yeah.
So it's you shoot.
It's
high.
That cliche. You shoot from the moon, you land among the stars, and you don't get it.
For sure. Because then
it's true though. It's so true.
You just work, and then all of a sudden you're just you might be where you want to be. If I tell anyone anything, it's just be consistent as fuck. Every day. Do it again. Would you eat? Eat what you ate yesterday.
Yeah.
Was it clean? Eat it again.
Yeah. Was it pancakes? Eat it again.
Eat it.
Yeah, it's hard when I like the metaphor of headlights. When you turn your headlights on, you can see however many feet. I don't know the right answer to that, but William probably knows. He knows all the facts. You can see a certain amount of feet in front of you, and if you're trying to look way too far in the future, man, my lights don't go that far yet. You can imagine, with your imagination, you can predict, maybe in a couple miles, I'm going to see this really cool tree. My GPS is showing me that I'm going to get to this destination. But man, what happens when your headlights are on, you get halfway through the journey, all of a sudden there's a fork in the road. It's oh, maybe I actually don't want to go to that destination anymore. Maybe, or, oh, the destination was closer than I thought. I passed it. Now I can turn right. Yeah, way better. Oh, the pancakes, IHOP, let's go.
Stop.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So stuff changes, and I think that a lot of young athletes. I love that you mentioned the 5 world championship thing because, and when people make this timeline that has these like very specific goals that they need to hit, as soon as you don't hit it, just like you said with the injury, it's like, man, like I didn't get this one thing, and that was like the easiest thing on the list, or that was like a blue belt world title I didn't get. Like, how the hell am I going to be a purple belt world champion or a black belt world champion? And it's like, man, the only thing that I can really focus on is like the next 24 hours. So like that's it. Like that's really, I mean, you want to think about the other stuff too, but what's in my control right now? Like, well, the next 5 minutes. Like that's it.
Yeah, totally.
350 feet. Does it depend on the caliber of your headlights though?
Depends on what car.
Tesla. No, I'm just kidding. Right. But then as you go those 350 feet, man, that sounds like way too much. Actually, now that you just said that, you're trying to make me sound stupid. But so, yeah, okay. Well, say it is 350 feet. You got this super powered car. Okay. Now I drive like 350 feet and now I can see the 350 in front of me again. And it's like, okay, cool. This is still where I want to go. Or like, oh, actually, maybe that path's like not as fun as I thought. Like, I'm going to go over here. So I like that. Man, I just realized that the main question of the podcast, I didn't even ask you guys. You guys escaped the get a grip question in the very beginning. So lucky for you, though, you get to answer it again now. So, okay, we got it. Okay, so what does it mean to you to have Kody immediately points the microphone at Will. Okay, so what does it mean to you to have a grip on your life? If you think like, man, I'm feeling good, things are going right, I'm on the right path, I got it together. Kody's like, I don't have my shit together. You got it together. What does that look like to you?
I mean, I guess we kind of, in a way, danced around this question the whole time, right?
Yeah.
But like, I mean, obviously winning matches, like, you know, having all the relationships intact, whether you know, for me, like I got a girlfriend, so like that's all going well.
You know, she messaged me when I asked about, did she tell you this already?
Oh yeah. She's a huge fan, by the way.
She's so sweet. She's so nice. I posted like, who should I have on the podcast? And she was like, William. And she put like the little like funny emoji. I was like, I already got you guys.
Yeah. So like for me, it's like having like the life together. You know? Like for me, that's like winning matches.
Yeah.
And, like being in good shape and getting like the social media hype and all that. Like that's, you know, what it means to have like, you know, everything going right for me. But, you know, there's things behind the scenes that are sometimes more important than that like we don't necessarily always see. Like that's kind of like what we see is like the big like gold medal dangling in front of us. But sometimes
that picture, right? The one, you know, the one, the portrait mode one.
Yeah, the portrait mode one. You know, that's what we want. That's what we see. But like, you know, the impact that we make along the way is really important too. You know, so like just being able to be, I mean, I think that we're all meant to be like good people and helping people out along the way. Like, I mean, if we were just all for our own selves the whole time, like the world would be a pretty terrible place. You know? But like what makes the world like in life worth living is like the relationships that we create. And like we talked about the whole time, it's like having the support group and the friends and the family, you know, like having that impact from other people, but like giving it back to other people too. And like just being positive and spreading that positivity, you know? So like having that, I think's, you know, a huge part of, you know, if you're not like making a good impact and like everywhere you go, like you like there's negativity and like you got all like this stuff on social media that's like coming up that's like all bad, like you know, you probably need to change like your persona and like what's going on, you know, like, but having like all that positivity and, you know, spreading, you know, good light and stuff, you know, that's I think like a huge part of having a successful life. But that's just like my opinion, because everyone's opinion is different, you know. That's what makes the world go around, is people are different, you know. People look at the world differently and have had different like lives and different upbringings, and that all contributes to like what makes the world spin, you know.
Yeah, amazing. I love it, man. You got some big shoes to fill, Kody. What does it mean to you to have a grip on your life?
Okay.
Today, December, what's the date? 14th. Oh, I got the date right. Yes. All right.
Have a grip on my life.
We got some Christmas fans in the house. All right, same. I have Christmas earrings in my room over there. I almost wore them, but It's fine. Anyway, sorry, Kody. William and I were having a moment.
I had time to think. Have a grip on my life. Probably the money, the cars, the houses, no, not yet. I think it's just kind of what he was saying, like, you know, on a perfect level of it, you know, it's like for winning, you know, if we get the extra money for whatever, or we all the things you practically see on Instagram, you know, like Instagram is just like it's like a crumb of my life. I feel like, you know, I don't show, I just show me working out, me eating,
and memes,
and sometimes
some
on the close friends, close friends only. But like, you know, like seeing that and like that's all that's cool and all, but like, yeah, like behind the scenes, you know, I'm fucking a good life for me that I'm living is just hanging out with my friends, fucking training every day, being healthy, you know, eating good food and like just feeling good, you know, like that's good to me. And then like I said, look, whenever something comes up, I could travel or hang out with you know, this guy right here, like that's always a good time for me. But it's yeah, in a perfect world, I guess, yeah, winning and all that shit, I just gotta win some more.
Yeah. Yeah, but feeling good. And I love when you said like talking so much about the community and contributing, William, because I think it all goes together. Well, your community gets better when you contribute naturally. Like you're putting the energy out there, it's gonna come back like that. What is it? The symbiotic.
Yeah.
So the what's
The
on
bird and the rhino.
the bird and the rhino, the bird and the rhino. Yeah, you got the birds, you got the rhinos. You're feeling good. You're living your life. You're winning. You got the gold chains, and it's going well. I like it. All right, so. Man, thank you guys so much for being on. I feel like I got to know you guys so much more better. That now my
That's so sick.
my homeschool friends over here is gonna get mad at me. I got to know you guys so much better, and I think I feel like I like to ask questions that I get from young athletes because they look at you guys and they see this shiny life and they're like, okay, I want to be like that, but do I have what it takes, right? And so it's really valuable to hear your stories and what's gone on and the dark moments that don't really get talked about and how to pull themselves, like tangible steps you can take to continue to like have a grip on your life is a good way to say it, but really just to, like you said, like what's a successful life for me? Like, what does it mean to feel good? Like, oh, I want to feel good. Like, what does that mean? Like that has a different happiness, right? Yeah. Happiness, like to enjoy my life on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. Like I said, it's different for everybody, you know, like I don't think anyone's life is more better than anyone else's. Yeah. What you doing out here? Good energy, man.
I'm sharing the love.
Sharing it. It's mo better. You know, it's just it's different for everybody. You know, yeah. Like if I could tell anyone anything, like I said, it's just consistency. You know, like I said, like people message me. And I think it's weird that they want even my advice. I'm like, who am I? I'm a fucking little weirdo, you know? Like I don't understand, but
don't
like,
ask me.
But yeah, it's just consistency. You know, if you wanna be good, and do it every day for years. And you know, I think I don't know, I can't even remember who told me, but they say like you could like change your life in like what 3 years, 2 years, or something like that if you like work hard. You know, go get shredded. Let's go.
Yeah. And you can always change your mind. Like you decide to do something else, you want to try something on for size. Like there's nothing lost in that time frame because you're going to take the lessons that you learn from it. So there's really no downside to going for it.
There's a quote that I heard. It's like you underestimate what you can do in 10 years, but overestimate what you can do in one. So it's just consistency, right?
Yeah.
So like 10 years down the line, you think, oh yeah, I'll just be here. Like if you just put in the work, you'll be way further down the line.
Yeah.
Like he mentioned, he has like written down stuff that he's just surpassed like way quicker than he thought. But then like 1 year, you're like, yeah, I'm going to be here. And then like you don't get there enough because you overestimate, you know, just focus on the task at hand and moving forward.
Yeah, I love it, man. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
I'm gonna link all your guys' stuff in the show notes for where to find you. But what are you about to say right now? You look like real specific.
I was just gonna say okay.
You're gonna say okay.
I was waiting.
Oh.
Thank you.
You. All right. Well, you got that in, so we're gonna continue. Okay, I'm gonna link everything in the show notes. But where are the main places for people to find you if they're listening and they don't check that out?
You can check me out on Instagram. I'm not really on Facebook much, but you can check me out on Instagram.
Oh my god.
I don't know. I have a Facebook page, but I'm not really on Facebook. But Instagram, Tackett_Jiu Jitsu. Got a YouTube channel. It's just my full name, William Tackett. Check out Grapple Gallery too. It's going to be.
Is it grapplegallery.com?
Yeah, grapplegallery.com.
Okay.
It'll be
Perfect.
launched probably new instructional up January. So
Nice.
We'll see. Yeah.
Perfect. So grapplegallery.com. We'll put that in the show notes too, so you guys can check that out.
Just for me, Instagram.
For you,
Yeah,
not for him.
yeah.
So, you know.
Just for me, Instagram, Kody_Steele BJJ. Or if you want, you can subscribe to my OnlyFans.
Ooh, yes. Is it spicy OnlyFans?
There's not like a ton of tits on there, but there's a
Oh,
lot of there's
not a ton, but a couple. Like,
there's a lot of jujitsu.
what kind of metric is
fighting,
that? Not a
MMA.
ton. That's really vague. So you are okay. All right. Well, that's enticing for subscribers, I guess. It's the mystery of it all.
Yeah, subscribe and you'll find out.
But what else is there other than the not a ton?
It's just like jujitsu techniques, like me running, working out, eating.
All right.
A little bit more like behind the scenes.
Behind the
Yeah.
scenes,
Maybe
a
I go
secret.
live, and you can like ask me some shit.
Oh, all right.
I might be
Okay.
doing some crazy stuff. I don't know.
All right. We don't know. You're gonna have to find out in the links in your bio
Yeah, it's in the bio.
on IG.
Oh,
All right. Well, we'll link it all, man. Thank you guys so much for being on. If you guys like the podcast, make sure you guys follow. I don't even think you can say subscribe anymore. It's all follow now, right? Sula, help me. Besides you, oh, William. Damn, William saving the day again. I like it. You guys are, Sula and William are really, Kody, you're not helping at all. But William and Sula really like make a great team. This is awesome. I feel so supported right now. I know. I just need to be managed. Okay. So, what was I saying? Sula, what was I saying?
Follow.
Subscribe, follow. I like that. Okay. See, William, you're my dog right there. Thank you. Okay. Subscribe, follow, like, whatever you gotta do. Oh, and make sure you guys leave a review. Tell me how much you hated these guys for sure. And leave any leave questions, comments, concerns, complaints. No, but really, let me know what questions you guys like, what you don't like, what was helpful, what you maybe want less of or more. Any and all feedback welcome, because my goal is to make the podcast as helpful as possible. So whatever is good for you guys, I need to know. That way I can help my guests give you what you need. And obviously, I'm hoping to have you guys back on again in the future, and then people can send in all their crazy questions, and then we'll get really into it on the next one. But yeah, so make sure you guys review. You can also share the podcast. You can link it, post it up, send it up, whatever you guys, if you think it would be helpful to someone. I think especially people who are like training jiu-jitsu, or they're doing a combat sport, they're looking to fight MMA, if they are not really like already at that pro level and they're looking to be, this is something that can be really beneficial to them. So make sure you guys share it with anyone like that as well. And as always, thank you so much for listening. Make sure you guys subscribe so you get the notification for the next one, and tune in with us in a couple weeks.